Welcome back. I'm Rob Lang and this is my game Clomper. You live inside a mechanical ladybird called a Clomper, which you control by making pipes to power machines with steam. The outside world is a hellscape which you explore from inside the Clomper, gathering resources and completing quests. That sounds like fun. Go wishlist on Steam. One piece of advice I give to anyone who'd like to do game devlogs is to know why you're doing them. You might want to build a YouTube channel and a presence online, or drive marketing for your game. I like those things, but for me the main reason for doing devlogs is the wonderful comments I get from all of you. And in the last devlog, number 68, I got some wonderful comments about lighting that helped me fix a problem I was having. In the last devlog, I said this. However, it's very contrasty. And what do I mean by that? Well, in some areas inside here, you've got areas that are really very bright, and I love how shiny that pipe is. And then you've got areas that are very dark, like this pipe over here. So it would be very strange to have an area which is this dark in a room this small with this much light. So the first thing I did is make two directional lights that don't cast shadows. I first of all created one that lights upwards, and that would then light the bottoms of the pipes. If I switch that on and off, you can see how it adds an extra kind of blue glint to it, and the similar one to light downwards. Now, while that was a solution, it wasn't a very good solution, and in the comments a number of you said that I should try using reflection probes as a way to bring on lighting, and you were right. So here we are in an updated scene, and we're in a particularly dark area, and it was those very dark areas that I wanted to get rid of, because it doesn't make sense in an enclosed space. If I turn on a couple of reflection probes, then you can see it's lit up. It's very subtle, but as a whole it makes a big difference. I always fall down in the pit every single time. I tried to style that out just then, but I ended up laughing down in the pit and back out again. I've got two. I've got one in the aft, so one up the back. Here it is. I've got two. I've got one in the aft, so one up the back. Here it is. And then I've got one up the front, and they have a blend distance, so they overlap a little bit. The easiest way for me to show you that is with these big squares. If I just pull this, you can see that this is the fore one, and then if I go to the aft one and do the same, you can see there's a fair amount of overlap and they blend together. Now it makes sense to overlap because there are quite different lighting situations up each end, but when you're in the middle you kind of get both. But joyously, it's still a little bit gloomy in places, which is exactly what I wanted. A good way of seeing how this works is if I really wang this up. Now you can see the effect that it's having. That's hurting my eyes. Sorry about that. So thank you very much to all those in the comments that pointed out that reflection probes could sort this out really quickly. They did, and I removed my two random lights that were lighting stuff up. This is much better. Thank you very much. The next thing to change were these lovely boiler valves. Now this controls the steam coming out of the boiler, and in the last video they sort of jerkily changed. Well, I implemented a library called DOTween, which allows you to change the rotation of something, and it does it nice and smoothly for you. So watch this. Love DOTween. I wish I'd discovered it earlier, because there's lots of other places where I do animation that would have made things a lot easier. You'll also notice that I've moved the tooltips off the centre of the reticule down into the bottom left. So now you can see what you're actually going to do with each key. It's not just showing you the key press, it's showing you more steam and less steam. And it changes depending on what options are available to you. However, it's not quite perfect yet. As you can see on this valve, it's nice and obvious, open and close, lovely. But if you look at this switch, open and close doesn't really make sense when it's changing the steam from one line down to the other, so I need to adjust that. Can I do this bit without blowing up the Clomper? Let's find out. Edit me, be kind. I've had not much sleep. Another thing that I've used DOTween for is setting up the boiler shake. So the more power you're demanding from the boiler, the more it shakes. And that's because these little sprites in here, which I'll show you again in a minute, oh, they're so cute. They're alright. They're bouncing around in there that makes it shake. So here's a boiler at power 1 and it's shaking just a little bit. Here it is again at 4 and it's shaking some more. And then now we're up at 6, so things are shaking quite a lot. And then at 10, where you're in warning zone, it's shaking lots. And I really like that. Beforehand it shook, but yeah, it was too jittery. It didn't feel like it was solid. And now it is. DOTween, fantastic. So yeah, I'm very proud of that. So if you're up this end, the shake will tell you when you've gone a bit wrong and you may have set them more than you want. Just lots of little cues to suggest that you might be going a bit wrong in your mind tank and that it's going to explode. But it's not. Haha! I've beaten myself for once. The fire sprites, they are adorable and they needed some love, and we all love them really. So let's look at all the changes I've made. The best way to do this, of course, is to get them out of the boiler. The best way to get them out of the boiler, of course, is to blow it up. So let's do the thing that I try not to do. Out you come. Yay! Right, they have all been released now, lovely. Hello? There you go. So here's the new fire sprite. So it's got new fire particles, which I'm not 100% happy with because they're too similar to the fire sprite body themselves. So if you're looking around, it's very difficult to see what's body and what's flame. So they need a little bit of work, but that's fine. I can deal with that. The eyes have changed, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And you can pet them, and you can pet them by pressing E. They go all squidgy. Hello! And then of course you can drop them and you can put them back in the boiler once you fixed it. So if I pick up another one, hello. You can also do a kind of a drive-by petting if you want to just walk up to one without picking it up, and you can pet it and you go hello, and they shake. Oh, they love being petted. They're so happy. They're so happy to be in their not at all a prison. So the other thing I changed is I added a physics material onto the bounce. So when they come back down, it's a bit sproingy. It goes boingy boing, like that. I'm a grown man and I'm saying sproingy and boingy boingy. Fine, you know what I mean. So here's the new fire sprite prefab, and isn't he lovely? Over here on the right you can see the physic material that I've applied to the fire sprite with a bit of bounciness there, and that means that when it lands after its hop, it will just bounce off the ground just for a moment. That's applied in the sphere collider that goes round the fire sprite. Beforehand, I had a problem with the eyes, in that they would show on both the front and the back of the fire sprite. Now you'd only be able to see the front or the back at any given time. Now when I was doing the petting, I needed to make sure I only had one set of eyes so that it turned to face you when you picked it up. So there we go, old and new. A little bit more work to do. I'm very pleased with how they've turned out. Most of the time I've spent since the last devlog has been dealing with animations for damaged machines. To show you what I mean, this is an old build of the game. You can see that the tooltips are still in the centre and the lighting is very, very dark in certain places. Let's damage everything. There's a whole lot of stuff here that's obviously damaged. You've got the boilers over here, they look damaged, but so is everything. The legs, they're damaged, but you can't quite see anything. The periscope, well, that looks not damaged at all. Neither does the con, that's not changed, nor has the map. Well, it's switched off, but otherwise it doesn't really look damaged. And the grinder doesn't look damaged, or the grabber. All these things, none of them look damaged. Now, it's not too bad if you know that everything is damaged, but when you're driving around bumping into things, not everything will get damaged, only a selection will. So there needs to be some kind of animation to show it going bang and going wrong. And that's what I've been doing. It's taken a long time, it's been a lot of fun. So let's look at them damaged now. Boom! So the periscope is wrecked, the lift is completely gone, that's going to be expensive to fix. All the legs have gone. They look a bit weird because they're all identical, but I might come back to that. The boilers as they were before. Now you've got the grabber station is completely broken. The grinder looks broken too, but I think this needs a bit more detail on here. And the con is all on the wonk. And the map is, well, it should really be off. I think these hexes should disappear, but I can fix that. But yeah, the iris has gone completely wrong. And I've just discovered that all of the repair tooltips are gone. Oh, that one's still on. Some of the repair tooltips aren't working. So you go, that's the new damage animations. I rather like them. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. In the past few months, I've started watching game dev Twitch streams, and I've found them very relaxing. My favourites are Irish John Games and Bit Gamey, so shout out to them. I've learnt a lot, and I must say the game dev Twitch community is excellent. So I tried my hand, and I've done 3 streams so far. I'm afraid it won't be on a schedule. My family life is just a bit too random and sporadic to make that work, but I'm going to do some more. I also hope to try streaming to both YouTube and Twitch, because my upstream internet connection is frankly ridiculous and it'll have no problem handling too. Humble brag much. Look at me and my fibre to the cabinet infrastructure. Ooh. Yeah, edit that out. I forgot to mention in the last devlog that I did an April Fool's. Now, one of my favourite games is Rocket League, blasting around in those little cars, kicking the football, and I thought it would be really funny to do a Clomper version of that and just call it Clomperballs, because the word balls is funny. Did you see it? If not, no problem, let's watch it now. I don't have a lot of time, so whatever I was going to do for April Fools needed to be quick and dirty. So I took a sphere and I slapped it in the screen, and to start with I thought I'll just animate it around. I'll use an animator, I can get it to rotate, it'll look fine. But it didn't look fine. It looked kind of weird because it was big and I couldn't get the acceleration right and it was clipping through the ground. Yeah, not a good idea. So instead, what I actually did was I sort of implemented it properly. So you can spawn one in and it obeys physics. It's got a physics collider, it's got some physics material so it bounces just a little bit, and I switched off collisions between it and the Clomper so the Clomper can boff into it without exploding. So let's do that. More speed! Ramming speed, sir. Oh. Here we go. We've got up to 10. So you go, you can push the ball onto the rollers. But then so does the Clomper. Oh. Saved just in time. It's a goal! Woohoo! This might turn into a bigger mechanic in the future. I don't know. It was a bit of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Just love the word Clomperballs. So simple. I'm now up to 550 wishlists on Steam. If you hadn't gone and hit the old wishlist button, then I'd very much appreciate it. This is going very well indeed. Next up is to add some more life to the damage animations. They need steam and sparks, maybe a flash, that sort of thing. I also need to finish de-uglifying the inventory because right now it's not quite right. The lighting's wrong, the colours aren't right. That needs sorting out. I don't think it's going to take very long, but it just needs some work. Thank you so much for getting through to the end. If you have any thoughts, feedback, then please let me know in the comments. Do like and subscribe because it helps the algorithm, and pop a wish list over. Make me feel very warm and fuzzy inside. And until next time, bye bye. Thanks everyone for coming. Sorry for the short notice. We have a problem with the next devlog. Your mic's turned off, you moron. Mic's off. Yep, mic. Sorry. What's the problem? We're ready to record. It's the number. The last devlog was 68, making this one 69.
Nice.
What's wrong with that? The internet thinks it's funny. Well, that's okay. Clomper is a light-hearted devlog series. Yes, but we're trying to get feedback in the comments. And if we call it 69...
Nice.
We'll have 100 comments saying, nice. Really? I'm sure the viewers are above that. How about we skip 69?
Nice.
And call it 70? Bit disingenuous, isn't it? Maybe we just don't mention it? They're expecting it. During my research, I saw Gabriel Clamfar 5496 commented on 68 saying, the time is going and we're getting closer to the magic number. Maybe they meant 100. That's wishful thinking. Perhaps call it 68 part 2. That's not solved it. You've just put it off. The one after would still be 69. How about leaving the number off altogether and see if they notice? The viewers aren't stupid. Really? They've watched 68 devlogs about a game they can't play. How about I don't mention the number and you just put something in the titles? You're not very good at sticking to my scripts. When have I ever left the script? Well, it might work. As long as this doesn't get out. This meeting never happened. Absolutely.